John Mitchell joins us. Welcome to the show, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Marty.
And congratulations on the new gig.
Yeah, no, it's a very refreshing challenge. To be fair, thank you. It's obviously one isn't getting any younger, but the opportunity to sometimes you don't get the opportunity, I guess, to work outside your own back door. And I do have this opportunity, and obviously with the team that's been very good in its past. So it's an opportunity to take them to another level.
Yeah, what made you ultimately decide to take on this particular job?
I wanted to lead again, mate. Actually, I wanted to head coach again. Obviously, there comes a point where sometimes as a coach, you've definitely got to learn off others to kind of reinvent your knowledge and stuff. And I think, the only chance an experienced coach can last these days, I think, and stay in touch with the game is you've got to learn to learn off others and evolve. So I did that, I guess, as an assistant on 2 gigs, and just always owed it to myself that I wanted to lead a program again. And, it was a very good opportunity to lead a program that's resourced very well.
I want to get on to that in a second, but just keeping on this theme, you were assistant coach with Eddie with England, obviously, in 2019 at the World Cup, and then, with Japan and with Jamie at the World Cup in Paris last year. So at both of those tournaments, did you think after those experiences that, heck, you would like to have another crack at another men's Rugby World Cup as well?
I don't say that's still not in the locker. But no. For me, it was like, I sort of inquired actually about I knew that they were looking for a head coach for the Red Roses, and so I just inquired to see what type of person they're actually looking for and whether they would be interested. So I had a coffee, and it wasn't one of those sort of things where they ring you up and say would you do the job? I actually decided to go through the whole process, and by going through the whole process, I actually sort of got a real feel for for what they're about and where they wanted to go to next. Which then probably the more I put my head into it, I thought, geez, this is some program, and it's actually something that really excites me. So I'm actually grateful that I actually even took the time out to even ask about the position in the first place.
Mitch, we're really paranoid in this country about the resources that women's rugby has up your part of the world where you're living at the moment, especially France and England. I don't know how much you know about the amount of money, the amount of investment, or where it sits in New Zealand at the moment. But just explain to us exactly what it is like up there. Like what do you have available to you?
Well, see, in England, there's a strong domestic competition. There's probably strong 5 teams, and there's 3 odd teams that kind of battle it out against each other, and unfortunately, you always have a team at the bottom of the log. But they're growing. So there's obviously foreign players in that competition as well. Obviously home nation players as well, so it's a very strong competition. So there's a fair bit of depth to select from, and then the main contract really is the 30 Red Roses contracts, and then we offer around 5 or 6 sort of transitional contracts to younger girls that we think that we put investment into them and give them a little bit more money, they can obviously transition into professional rugby or find an extra day or 2 to be professional. So you still really got a mixture of amateur, some that have been playing the game a long time, and then you've got the ones that are truly professional. So there's a huge contrast between of where the players are at. But those 30 Red Roses contracts are sort of like gold to the girls, and they're reviewed annually. So a bit like the Black Caps system. So they've got to obviously perform and to sustain their contracts, which is at this moment in time probably their advantage.
John Mitchell
one of
is
their
with us.
advantages.
Yeah, former All Black coach, of course, people, and now coach of the England women's rugby team. And it sounds very similar here to New Zealand. It still sounds developmental, like it's not fully professional. And I suppose that's why I asked that previous question. We've got this paranoia that the English women and the French women are absolutely fully professional with all these substructures in place as well. But it doesn't sound as though it's actually reached that level yet.
Well, when you do the road trips and get around to meet the staff and the players, and like you talk to the contracted players about their how they're going in terms of their individual development plans and all those sorts of things. So you carried all that stuff up there, but they're still starting at 5 p.m. or waiting for the last teammates to come in around 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. at night. So it's in progress. It probably actually reminds me very much of when rugby turned professional here in '95 when I was with Sale way back. There was about 4 or 5 of us that were professional, and we used to have to wait till 5 o'clock before all
everyone
the
had
other
their
lads
jobs
would have to come in from work.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So with that, it's actually very similar to that right now. So it's going to evolve, no doubt about that, but it's certainly still in its infancy.
What kind of support, crowd support, television ratings, do you know that the game gets on the women's side of it up there?
It is on TNT Sport up there, one sort of live game per day on the weekend. I think, obviously that will need to grow because the previous live streaming, I think, showed more. We'll obviously have to, I'm not sure what the audience figures are on that, but that sort of seems to be just on top of the men's sort of production. That's probably about it, really. I think BBC didn't present our warm-up test matches last year, but however it did present the World 15 tournament. So still a bit of work to do there, but that's what we've got to earn as well. Last year at Twickenham, the last match against France, I think it was around 58,000, 60,000 people.
Crowd,
so so we've still got a lot of work to do to increase our audience, I guess, our supporters, and fill the green seats of Twickenham.
That test match against the Black Ferns at the end of the year at Twickenham, I mean, everyone's hoping for a sellout for that as well. Do you still look at the New Zealand side as being the ultimate competition, or is it the 3 sides, England, France, and us?
I mean, the girls respect New Zealand big time. Always see that as a major challenge, and they're also world champions. So that's also is something that is to New Zealand's advantage as well. And then France, Canada, and then I guess like all the other nations are starting to evolve their programs as well. So you still got to make sure that you prepare for the worst. So, like, as you know, if you don't, this game comes and gets you. So, we've got enough competition, and also we've got, I guess, the other main competitions ourselves, really, at the end of the day, because when you're playing in a domestic competition where some of the players get, like rugby pretty easy because they have sort of like a lot of success. I guess it's the challenge when coaching a side like this is how you challenge them to deal with the unfairness of the game and also being behind in the game. So like how you create those sort of, or how you're creative in those situations is really important in terms of their development.
You as a coach, the fundamental differences straight away that come screaming out at you from coaching men or coaching women, what are they?
Well, the simple thing about mate is where there's common context between the games, that's easy to talk about. When there's uncommon context to talk about, where I don't have knowledge in that area, it's important to actually understand that you don't, I often just refer to my staff where they can help me. We've obviously got a number of staff that have been involved with the girls for a long time, so they're very good at updating me on stuff that I don't know. A lot of it's around, I guess the physical capacity. A lot of it's around the physical demands that the girls have to experience. So all those sorts of things, it just grows your awareness really, and it helps you. It actually certainly opens up your thinking, which is good. It's certainly refreshing from that point of view, because I guess you're learning all the time.
John Mitchell is back with us. He's the English women's rugby coach, our former All Black coach, of course. 2027 Lions tour down under here. Are you going to be around for that? Is that something that you would like to do, to coach that team?
Do you know what, Marty? It's it would be a fantastic honour. I mean, but it's a long way away.
Yeah, it is a long way away.
There's a lot of work to do. And I guess a lot of our girls will have that goal in mind. But I think my first job is this one, and this is where my focus is at. So, but I'm not going to deny the fact is that is definitely an opportunity. But if it should it go my way, well then I'll deal with it. If it doesn't go my way, I'll just carry on and do what I'm doing.
I've got a list here for you. Correct me if I'm wrong in any part of this. Ireland, Sale, England, the assistant coach, London Wasps, Chiefs, in no particular order, Waikato, the All Blacks, Western Force, the women, of course, Japan, United States, the Bulls in South Africa. It's just such a resume you've got now, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm almost 60, mate. So I guess it's always gonna clock up. I've been very grateful for the worldly experiences that I've had, and some of those experiences, or all those experiences, have actually been fantastic in many ways. I think the worldly experiences allowed me to, I guess, not be so biased in just one way of playing rugby. I think in many ways it's actually helped me grow as a coach, and it's allowed me to, I guess, evolve and ultimately serve people based on their needs and their personalities. So I'm very lucky. Yeah.
We've got Ian Foster now. Who's he'll pop up somewhere. We're absolutely sure of it. Jamie Joseph is coming back to New Zealand. The question's always going to be asked to you as well. Is that ever an intention? Would you ever like to? Would you ever want to again? Because it's been a heck of a long time.
Yeah, been a long time. I think 21 odd years since I've lived in New Zealand. It's still home. It's still like a place that you're proud of, but also I've built a lot of friendships up here as well, and you never say never. Come back and live at home. Will I work back at home? I think it's probably a long shot, ever, to be fair. Hopefully health is good to me over the next 10 years. I really don't know where I'm gonna end up. But I've certainly got choices. I've got obviously New Zealand, South Africa, and England, haven't I? So it's for me, it's we're really enjoying England. We love it. Just don't know. But I've also got grandchildren as well. That I would like to spend time with. So there's lots of decisions, but right at the minute it's not really too pressing, because all my children are all around the world for different reasons. So there'll be plenty of time, I think, to connect.
The World Cup. Let's go back to Paris. Did the right team win that tournament in the end?
Yeah, that's a bloody good question. That. Well, they did beat all the top teams, by 1 point. So they certainly knew how to manage pressure and execute under pressure. Defensively, a very good team. Second scrum, very good team. Just a lot of big match players, very physical. It's interesting. Like cards became quite a horror show for most teams warming up for the World Cup, and then it seemed to settle down. Like to more consistent basis in the tournament, and then in the end it determines who was successful in the final, wasn't it? So that area on the card is still a pretty ambiguous area, I think.
Got to say before we go as well, you mentioned the kids there. I know that you spend a fair bit of time when you can travelling around the world watching Daryl play as well. Mitch, you and Kay race an absolute diamond there, mate. I mean, what a great bloke he is. I've had something to do with him, as you know, over the years, and interviewed him a number of times. And he brings everything that you always hope that if you had a chance, a numpty like myself, to ever wear a silver fern, that's what you hope you look like, behave like, act like, play like, the determination, the pride and everything else. It just must be absolutely thrilling watching him play.
Yeah, it's great to see him enjoying his sport, I guess, and there's nothing better when you start to master your craft. I think the one value that like he certainly talks about how much he enjoys the game, which I think warms your heart more so than it just being a transaction. I think that, Marty, the greatest feedback that you want as a parent is that your son or your daughter, your son's a good bloke, or your daughter's a beautiful girl.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I think when you get that kind of feedback, I think that's the thing that warms your heart, because I guess that's the identity I think that most of us as parents would love to see our children achieve.
Putting another great person back into the world, that's the way that I describe it. I always think about my children and just think, I want them to be polite, I want them to be courteous, I want people to look at them and go, I like that person and I want to be their friend.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's, I guess, they've watched plenty of movies as a youngster of yourself, don't they? So ultimately, there's always going to be something that's going to rub off. Yeah, good or bad.
Good or bad or ugly. Eh? Look, great catching up with you. I mean, I wish I could sit down and talk for 40 minutes, but I'm sure that we'll get another chance again. Again, congratulations on getting this gig. Provides a fantastic sideline story and a Kiwi connection, of course, when the Black Ferns come up and play at Twickers. Alan Bunting we had on the show the other day. We're doing a lot of work, a lot of prep down here. You know that the competitions are, they're getting well resourced. Again, it's a bit like you up there. The support's got to grow, and it's got to be allowed. I think it's got to be allowed to grow without, trying to sort of force it too much. The playing base is increasing, the popularity is increasing, but it's not going to happen in an absolute instant as some wish it would happen. You just got to let people come to this game and enjoy it. And when it's played well, it's played bloody well.
Yeah, that's ultimately, you can't force anything, isn't it? But it's played. It's a different way that it's played, and it's refreshing. The men's game is very much a brutal, homogenized game, and there is certainly detail in it, but it's like it's challenging between the best teams in the world, where you tend to see a little bit more ball movement, I think, like in the top teams in the women's game. But going back to New Zealand, having been brought up there, the one thing about New Zealanders is that they always look to get better as well, and especially in World Cup years.